All right. Are you seeing my screen?
I am.
Yes.
Okay, so let's play.
Here's the 6 years of torture. And finally, freedom. Yeah.
Joseph, you've done all you could. Deal with it.
Joseph, promise me you will go.
A lot of the things I read about Africa freaks me out.
And I keep telling you, you're reading the wrong books.
There's some things that are just non-negotiable. And that's the use of bush medicine in my hospital. Never gonna happen.
That's what Granddad made his living from in a compound. And we know he was a master at this.
You bringing the bush to the hospital?
There's enough.
No, we are a family of professional doctors. Let's all learn.
Everyone walks through these doors. They're expecting a miracle.
Preserving the family legacy is also your responsibility.
You are descendant of Nani, many mighty warriors.
Granddad was saying that it was...
Granddad, every time you open your mouth, his name come out of it.
You know what I had to endure under that man's hands?
So because of that, you're going to stop me from living the life that I want to live? Hell no! I'm done with pleasing you and everybody else.
Hey, you! What are you looking at?
You should stay away from me. I'm Poison Joseph.
Is that ganja smoking Rasta girl, right?
Look, Mom, even if it is, it's still my decision. How do you know my name?
Where do you see my son? You're like a candle that cannot be hidden under a bushel.
Where are you going?
To look for my son?
I'm making me out!
No, pessoal!
I'm on a journey to reconnect with my ancestry.
Many more will find their way home.
May the souls of my two heroes rest in peace.
I'll be there in Ghana with you. Yeah? That's not how we talk. That's how you talk.
Wow, I am getting chills. Oh my word. Yeah.
Listen, okay, so Marcia, we are going to start with you. This is your 7th film, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Let's note it. Let me see now. We had Hush, Hush 2, Hush 3. We had Chrissy. I remember going to the premiere of that one. We had Vigilante Crossing.
Yes, that's that poster there.
Yes, we had Errol Barrow, Freedom Fighter.
Yes.
And this Joseph now is your 7th film. What is it that led you to start producing films? And, you know, where did you learn to do all of this?
Wow. Oh, first of all, thank you so much, Joanne. You have been such an encouragement, just watching you really over the years. I've just, you know, it's been an encouragement just to, even if I don't tell you every day, but just watching you, it's an encouragement to see how you and your husband, how you both work together and what you're doing. You know, it's encouraging for me. It's inspiring for me looking on. And I want you to know that, my sister. Thank you for what you do. And thank you for having me on the program. I'm very honored to be here. Films, well, I would say this is now 11 years ago. I got up one morning and I heard very, very clear that the Holy Spirit saying to me, daughter, I want you to begin to write films. That's how it came to me, write films. And I'm like, write films? I was early morning, it's a morning in May, and I put my foot down on I remember putting my foot down on the floor when I got up, on the rug, and I heard, that's what I heard, and I'm saying, write films. I don't know anything about films. I'm an accountant. I studied to become a CPA, I'm a certified public accountant.
Wow.
So, but at the time I was in full-time ministry and I was doing Praise Academy. Mm-hmm. So I got off the bed and I kept it in my heart, didn't say anything to my husband or anybody in the family. And I started preparing breakfast, but I was very quiet that day. I wasn't speaking as I was preparing because I was listening internally, just listening. And then when I was dressed and ready to leave, as I picked up my bag, I heard very, very clearly, your first topic is going to be abortion. And with that, I let out this cry from inside.
Oh.
Everybody in the house like, what is wrong? But it was this release that came from the inside of me. And I went up to Praise Academy, and I started to research on abortion. I forgot about that I don't know how to write a film. I didn't think about that anymore. I was focused on obedience. I heard abortion, and I honestly, talking about it now, I realize I must have forgotten about that part, the important part that you can't write, you don't know how to make a film. So I went up to Praise and I started to research on abortion. And then I went home, it was a Friday evening, went home and I made dinner and I went into my study and I started to type away and put this story together. I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is that I was told to do something, Joanne, and I was being obedient to do it. I did not know how to do it. I know how to write scripts, theater pieces, you know, theatrical productions, and I can write an article, I can write a story, but I've never even seen a film script. So I just went and I just was being obedient, and I wrote the story. I can't tell you I wrote a script, but I wrote a story, pages of it, and I got up to use the bathroom and probably to get something to drink, but I did not get up until I didn't finish in the morning. And when I was finished, I just went over the computer like this and I started crying.
Wow.
And it was like, I realized now it was, I gave birth to something I didn't know. Now looking back, it's to all of these films that I was giving birth, not just that.
Wow.
And I just started to weep when I was finished writing it. And then you know, I gave it to my husband to read. He said, "But this is a lovely story," because he's my biggest critic. You know, which is good because they keep you grounded, right?
Don't it? Yes.
They keep you grounded. So, you know, if it's foolishness, he's going to tell me, "Oh, something wrong with this." But he told me, he said, "No, I'm intrigued. I can't put it down." So, and then I told him what it was all about. So all that time he didn't know, God told me to write any film, nothing, you know. And writing, there is a lot of principles in there about when God speaks sometimes that you don't need to be telling everybody everything. And even as though they're close to you, you got to know when to speak. But back to the story. So I, you know, and so then now the thing of, okay, but it's supposed to be a movie, but okay. So I went online and I started to research about how to make a film. This is, and I met a Christian young lady who did a film already, and I sent her an email, and I said, "Listen, do you want to come to Barbados and teach somebody?" And you know, and long story short, we paid for her ticket and she came to Barbados. It's crazy. Met her at the airport. And the rest is history. So in a nutshell, that's how it started.
Wow.
A desire to obey the Lord. That has always been the thing with us. We get in a lot of trouble for it. Financially, with people misunderstanding, but at the crux of the whole thing for us, so Dave and I, is did Jesus say it? Did he say it? And he said it, then okay, we're going to do it. Well, while we're doing it, we're going to figure it out. And in our relationship, I think that's the Jamaican part of me. I jump off and they're like, "Oh, me catch me there, catch me." That's how he tells it. That's how he tells. He's the Bajan, right? So when I'm the Jamaican and we say, "Jump," we jump. Somebody jump off. And when I jump off and I scream, "Dear!" But I am the crazy one like that.
Oh my gosh.
Rubbing off on him, and some is rubbing off on me. Because sometimes now I say, "I'm not doing that anymore." He says, "No, you have to do it." Like Joseph, I told him, "I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. It's too much problems. I can't take it on." And he will just quietly continue to plan because he's like, "You're going to do this." God says yes, and you're going to do it. So, you know.
Yes.
I don't know.
So glad you did.
we are eternally grateful to you. Listen, my parents watched it yesterday. No, my father can't stay awake for more than, I don't know, a few minutes at a time. And he stayed up and watched most of it and said, this is good. I'm serious. We are eternally grateful. No, the next question I want to ask you is not even on the list of questions I gave you, but it's just natural now. You told the story of how you came to do the first movie, the process of birthing that one. Did you have a similar birthing experience with Joseph? What was that?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, Joseph, I did that one kicking and screaming, guys. That was one baby that I had to repent afterwards because, it's like, you're supposed to have this child, and I'm like, I don't want to have this child. I don't want, God, don't even bother. I'm not interested. I really did it kicking and screaming. I tried to find a writer. When Fred realized, I know it's the will of God. So I said, okay, God, I'm trying to bargain. Let us try then to do, let's find a writer. Let's find a producer. Let's find a director. I'm gonna stay behind here and let and we will executive produce far away.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, the trouble that created us walking out of God's will.
Going off the plan.
I can laugh now, ladies. I can laugh now. We lost so much money over that. Lost our first set of money. Lost because of disobedience.
Wow.
Because of me. And it's good to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
It's usually good.
I was disobedient, and that I lost that entire money, and because I was trying to work with people that were not good. It wasn't supposed to even happen. We were trying to get people to come to the Caribbean to write, because it was about a majority of it about Africa. So I thought I didn't know how to write a film like that. So write a screenplay like that. So I said, let's get somebody from overseas, someone from Africa. And so we were bringing somebody in, and they didn't even leave the airport because both the producer, the writer / director, no visas. And I can say that on your show because you're all about bringing people together as well. So that became a problem, even though we asked about it. But with them not coming this side, they thought that wherever they checked, they said it was fine. So my husband made sure he asked that question, but so it was devastating, because you don't get back. So and those tickets, Joanne, those tickets are, guys, that for a small. And that came out of disobedience. So that birthing for me, I was dragging. And didn't want to until I just let go, and I said, okay, God, have your way. The tears running down. I know it was going to be hard, and it was hard. But God, if that's what you want, Daddy, here's a body. Here, you can use me, Jesus. Take hold of me and use me. And that's what happened with this one.
Boy, I tell you, Denise, did we know we were going to be having like preaching up inside here today? But I have already learned so much in terms of spiritual lessons, and I don't know if we are going to even get to the end of this whole conversation, because there is Rosie's online asking, where can I find the write-up for Black Panther? Rosie, it's in issue 2 of the KW magazine, CREWShall Connections in Faith and Culture. And so this is a good point at which to say we actually have an e-store. We have an e-store, which Nora Gay is about to put the link inside the Facebook page so that people can find it. But it's at spurropen.com, spurropen.com. And I forgot to announce at the beginning too that we're having giveaways, so that if someone purchases an issue of the magazine after this show, then they're also going to get a copy of you see that opening song we played a piece of? You are going to get a copy of that song when you purchase a copy of the magazine today. So, and we may extend it, I don't know, because you are going to be sharing this with your friends and they will not be catching it live. So, hey, but that is it. And is the film on YouTube? The film is not on YouTube. However, later on, we're going to find out how we can access this film. All right. Denise, I think, go ahead.
So we're looking at the birthing of Joseph, and you were obedient and you did it. My question is, in filming this, there are a couple of places we noted beautiful scenes from Jamaica, from Barbados, and from Ghana. Was this your first experience in Africa for filming? And if so, what was it like? And how was it possible to keep your mind on the film while reacting to this experience of being in Africa? Yes. So let me repeat. It's a threefold question. Was this your first experience in Africa, Ghana? And if so, what was it like? And how was it possible to keep your mind on the film while reacting to the experiences of being in Ghana?
Oh, yeah, that's a loaded one. My first time, thank you, Debbie. Denise, sorry. My first time in Ghana was when I went, I had gone to February to do some scouting. And to just to see what the place was like and to look at the locations, etc. Because it was very important that the locations were authentic. I was very big on that. I mean, it cost us a lot of money and a lot of headache, but it was important that the accents were authentic, the location authentic, the culture, whatever cultural expression, because I recognize the importance of this film. And so I was going to go to Ghana, and I was going to go and look at the place myself and know what it is I want to show. And it was important that we were going to present to the world a different side of Africa.
Yes.
A different side of Ghana. So that was part of our design, our production design, was that we were going to show, it's going to be authentic, but it was also going to be something that we are all proud of, and not what we see a lot in the media. So if it's middle class, it's going to be middle class. If it's going to be in the village, it's a village. You know, and we were just going to show all kinds of parts of Africa, of Ghana. And the same thing for Jamaica. I was determined, you know, I would have seen a lot of films, wonderful films come out of Jamaica. And I was saying, you know, if I ever get to do a film in Jamaica, I am not going to show zinc fence. Nothing wrong with zinc fence. I grew up with zinc fence. But our problem is that a lot of the films coming out, one after the other, was always
exciting.
But let me not say always, it seemed that way. Now, people are listening, please don't get me wrong. I'm from Big Lane Central Village. I can't have no problem with zinc fence, all right? So I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is just what we present all the time to people. So I wanted to have
there's so much more,
I wanted to show another part of Jamaica. The same thing with Barbados. I wanted to see something else. you know, see how other, we're all different kinds of people live in Jamaica.
Yes.
Same thing with Ghana, the same thing with Barbados. Don't stereotype us, you know. So that was important. So the other part of your question, no. So going to Ghana, seeing this beautiful place and everything, the first trip, I was like in a maze. I was crying. It was so like every day you see your world that looks like, look at Jamaica. I went to a place and looked at Old Harbor, and then I remember when I was a little girl and I started crying because it took me back when I was 7 years old, running up and down on the beach, you know, barefoot and everything. And I was like, this is how we were. They're cooking on the coal pots. Look at the nets. Look at the boys jumping off the water, jumping off the wharf. This is Jamaica. And I was like, oh, and the guy was with me like, what happened? And I was just
Yeah, I could see that.
I wasn't sad, but it was so real, and it reminded me of Jamaica. When I went, and then when I, the other thing that happened to me in terms of locations was, there was an American girl with me, and we heard, whenever we heard, I didn't know it was happening to her. We heard the sea, and it was doing something to each of us, but we didn't know. And then eventually she said, we were eating, and she said, can we walk down to the water? And while we were in the water, I said, is this doing the same thing? Is something happening to you? She said, yes. Every time she heard the sea, it's like a sadness came over her, like from deep in her belly.
Wow.
And we started to talk, and like I said, but that's happening to me too. And we realized it's because that's how they left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost like their spirits are still mourning in the wind, on the waves.
On the waves. I tell you, we had no discussion because we had, you know, where we were, there's a lot of water around. But about the third day is when, or sometime down, you know, then I said it, with the discussion happened because it was happening to me too, you know, and we realized from talking. So, you know, to answer your question, Debbie, it was, I mean, saying it, Debbie, there's a Debbie in Barbados, Debbie Simpson, Denise, you know, it was that feeling where this is real life, and it was happening. I'm feeling what my people went through, being in the you know, the castle, what they call the slave castle. Why are they calling it? But that place,
it was a fort, sort of built as a fortification. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I tell you, all of us were crying, filming. We cried when we went to scout. When we were filming, we were in and out. I had to, for some of the times, try and go in a corner. So, because if I break down too much, it's going to affect everybody else.
Right.
So I just had to, you know, to find ways of, you know, the people did not want to stay there. We had to film for 8 hours inside, 8 to 12 hours.
Wow.
We were filming in there, and people came, you know, they came and told me, we're not going back, man. This is too much. My son, who was 23 at the time, he came, he said, Mom, I cannot go back inside there. He was working in the camera department. He said, Mom, I cannot go back. I said, Dan, you have to go. And he's looking at me. I said, look at what your ancestors, we are just there for 12 hours, the max. Look at what they had to, they were down there for weeks and months.
Yes.
They were filthing on themselves. They were late there. That's where the filth is, where they ate, where they, everything. I said, we have to stay down here. And I told everybody, I gave everybody that speech. Allison and all those actors, Allison, Chantel, they were crying. Those tears from Christopher were real.
Yes.
A lot of the tears you saw, we captured it because they were crying. I told the camera, I said, capture it now, because once they cried out, we have to give them water for them to cry again. So I said, capture it, because it's real. One of the guys, he was breaking down. We had to take him out, that big man. We had to literally take him out of the dungeon, out of the slave dungeon. It's real, and because we were talking about those issues, it was just hard for people, you know. So it was a challenge, you know, being in the location, and then you're filming, you have to focus on the filming, you know, the one more thing I would say, the first day when I went on set, I saw all of the Ghanaians working, and these are young people, a lot of young men.
Mm-hmm.
They were so efficient. They were so efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at them, and they looked like people that you would, you know, they show you in the African village, or you see people walking in the city in Ghana. But now you're seeing them at work.
Mm-hmm.
You see them with, you know, the microphone. You see them with an equipment slug on over their shoulder. You see them sweating. You see them running. And I stood there again. I was a basket case. I don't know what kind of director I was. I was crying again. And the reason I was crying, the stereotypes were just, it's like things going in my head. I'm like, they are so efficient.
Mm.
The team was working like, you know, like an ant kingdom. They were just moving.
Yes.
And everybody fitting in. And it just brought, I was crying watching them, because I'm like, that's not what I thought when I came here.
Thank you so much. Because Marcia, you touched on areas that I was going to touch, so I don't have to go there. You touched on your own reactions. You touched on the reactions of the cast members traveling to Africa for the first time, and how their own experience, you know, not being able to stay in the dungeon, and oh wow, and you kind of touched on separating Marcia the filmmaker from Marcia the child of the Caribbean, you know?
Yes, she covered all of those things that were coming up in those next questions, right?
Yeah.
Online we have Janice, and Janice is saying, now I want to see Ghana.
Yeah.
So, and you know, it was really interesting because I went to the premiere showing in Kingston, and the Nigerian High Commissioner was there. She stood up at the end when there was time for people to ask questions and to make comments, and she was appealing to Jamaicans to get on a plane and go to Africa, you know, whether it's Ghana or Nigeria. Of course, she's a Nigerian High Commissioner, so she's looking for that. Yeah. But she's saying, you know, go to Africa. So yes, Janice, start save up your little money from now, because the doors will soon be open again and you will be able to go. Rosie is saying, I totally understand, and I think she was responding, Marcia, to the whole experience inside the slave castle. She says she has been there once in 2006 and would like to go again because it resonates so much. I want to, and people who are watching, please share this video. There are so many of us who are crying out for insights into who we are and where we come from. And
coming on that point,
yes, because I was just about to ask you a question, but go ahead, jump in.
Hold that question before I forget this trend of thought.
Yes.
I remember in the review, I used the phrase that Marcia gave us a lens through which to experience Africa by extension, but Ghana specifically as the sample. And this was really, really important for so many of us in the diaspora in particular, because we feel even more separated.
Yes.
But the Caribbean, you know, what I call the Black peoples of the Americas, because it's not just the Caribbean, it's the whole Americans.
Central and South America as well.
Yes. So the Black peoples of the Americas, and my niece, as I told you, who watched it with me today as a millennial, she was saying she has absolutely no context within which to put her existence. So she looked at Joseph and she says, well, he's privileged. At least he had a struggle. And he had some context within which to struggle because his grandfather gave him a legacy. But the rest of us, we have none. We have no reference, no context, except from what the history books have told us. Yeah. And then from my side, living in the UK, the pain I feel of being separated even one step further is when I meet Africans and they have no curriculum exposure to us. They're not taught about us. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, Lord, we're forgotten again. you know, and it really makes you feel like, well, we're nobody's child.
Yes.
So one of my remarks in the review was that it made me, it really touched that, I really, what Marcia said resonated with me. It touched that child who's crying out for identity, crying out for a sense of belonging. And this is the pain that she must have felt in birthing, because I know that as a collective group, the Black peoples of the Americas are craving for identity.
Yes.
And I think to link up with KW, that's where the expression is coming out in our music and the different styles in which we try to find something unique and original, because we have not much to throw back to. What we throw back to is more primordial. It's in our DNA, it's in our genes. We don't even understand why.
Right.
And that's part of the frustration. Why do we like this? Why do we do this? Why do we eat this? Why we stay where we stay? We don't know. There's no one to tell us that this is the reason why you are the way you are. This is the culture that you are from. Because somehow with colonialism, there's been a disconnect, because at least the Maroons had it handed down. And they had the retentions. So they had something to cherish. And that's why the grandfather was so keen on handing it to Joseph, because he had the burden of the ancestors upon him to hand it down. The children born in the 20th century, what was handed to us, you know?
That's a conversation for another time, but it's a necessary conversation for sure. When I say for another time, not because it's really not relevant now, but because that would take us a long time.
Joseph gave us at least the initial introduction. And so it creates that bridge where this is where I'm hoping this film will be used in school. And I'm talking to all history teachers out there. If I was still in the classroom, this would be, I would write this into my curriculum.
Yes.
I would use this and give the children opportunity to write a critique, look at it and show them Ghana and to deal with the stereotypes that they already have in their minds.
So what I wanted to ask you is going back into the film and your experience. You've seen it twice now, haven't you?
Yes. And I have to watch it again because there's some other things I want to know what's about.
So tell me, just a brief overview. What did you get as a consumer of it, different from Marcia on the inside? You are now on the outside looking at it.
For me, I think why I would watch it again and again is because each time I watch it with a different hat, if that makes sense. If you understand where I'm coming from. When I watched it initially, I put everything to one side and I was just a child of the diaspora wanting to find some sense of connection through this film and to understand my place in the world. And from the point of view of a historian, I was looking to see the historical accuracy because that's one of my pet peeves. I hate when we're misrepresented. And visual media tends to be very powerful, you know? So what people see, they just take it and they believe it. So I was over the moon when I watched it and I saw that everything was done as accurately as the resources could allow. And rather than taking on something that you couldn't represent properly, Marcia, you know, going and finding the authentic sources and putting the information and writing it through the narrative, I was really grateful for that because I felt, yes, we must hand down what is accurate to our posterity. So for me, the main thing that I took away was that this bridge needs to be built to deal with the separation and the distancing that we have with Africa. And the bridge needs to be walked both ways. Not just us repatriating, but they need to reach out to us because there's a psychological soul wound there where we feel abandoned. You know, and this is why my bias comes through, where as far as the West Africa slave coast is concerned, my bias is always pro-Ghana. And it has been satisfied in this film because when I heard of the year of return and what Ghana has done politically to build to build their portion of the bridge and to meet us halfway on the bridge, it just made me feel like, wow, finally, we belong and somebody wants us, somebody cares about us. We're not just abandoned children in the wilderness, you know?
And if you had caught the first CREWShall conversation that we had with Mama Edith Oladele, she spoke about going to the Cameroon and finding out that the people over there wanted to reconnect with us, wanted to find out what had happened.
Really?
Yes, and there was a huge apology that they were offering. I mean, it
we
was...
don't hear that in the media. Come on, John, you need to put that out there again and again, because we don't hear these things.
Well, I'm telling you, Mama Oladele, she spoke with us on that first CREWShall conversation, and it was overwhelming, just what she had to share about her experience in Cameroon talking with these people. And then in addition, you know, we had shared an article in the KW magazine that mentioned an apology that was offered from chiefs in Ghana.
Wow.
To the descendants of those who were enslaved.
Wow.
For the role that they had played in the whole thing. So yes, would you say that that was your biggest takeaway?
I would say yes. I mean, there are other things, but to me, the seminal thing was establishing this connection and making us realize that the African continent may have had its own trauma, but at the end of the day, we belong.
Yeah.
You know, we belong. And that belonging is really, really, really pivotal for the generations past, in memory, for our generation, and for posterity. I think that belonging is really, really important.
Yes, and so
I'm excited to see how we negotiate going forward with establishing more and more links, because I want to see the fledgling film industry in the Caribbean. I want to see a Pan-African film industry, because there's Nollywood in Nigeria, you know, but I want to see how comes out of the Caribbean and how we can write stories that reflect each other.
Yes. Wow. So, and I'm pretty sure that the work, see Marcia is clapping. I'm pretty sure that the work that Marcia is doing, I mean, she, by the way, has established a School of the Arts. What's the proper name for it, Marcia?
It's called the Caribbean School of the Arts, where anyone from the Caribbean, if you're interested in studying the arts, we go up to the Cape level, where you can do Cape film, cinematic arts. You can do
that is fantastic.
You can do dance and theater and music, and at the end of it, you can get one Cape subject, or we can work with you to get an associate's degree. And the great thing about what has happened to us with COVID, one of the good things, is that now Joanne, we are offering it now. Entire Caribbean, because before it was just Barbados. We had some people from Jamaica, Antigua interested, and from Trinidad. And one guy, and a family from Trinidad came here to live here to do it. But now you can actually do it from where you are. And so we have the equipment now to be able to do it. And our
we have the tech. Amen.
Listen.
We start October 5th. And where for us, you can do an associate, up to an associate degree in dance, because it's important for our people that there is training, ongoing training, that is happening, and that we can do it across the Caribbean. And with all that is happening, as you were talking, Angela, about education and how much we don't know about each other, we've added an elective called African Diaspora Studies. So then you're studying Africa and you're studying about the diaspora.
That is absolutely fantastic.
It's just pure clapping going on inside here.
I'm appearing very, very calm, but I am so emotional on the inside, because this is years of really just wanting to see this happen.
yeah.
This, I am so pleased to
And it's
hear this.
important to us. And I know we went off, but I loved what Angela was saying about the education, because Angela, it would have been because I did the film and I realized how much we don't know about Africa. You know, Denise, we don't know about Africa and they don't know about us. So what I said, you know what? Let's start, you know, when they come into the school, we take them from 11 years old to 25. And so they come in and but in the evening we have older people who come in. So don't worry, if you're past 25, we take you.
Oh, there's hope for me then.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, in the daytime, what happens is that in the daytime, these are those who need their CXC and CAPE.
Yeah.
All right? So they can leave our establishment with 4 CAPE subjects, 8 CAPE subjects, an associate's degree, all your CXCs, 6, 7 CXCs. And what are we doing? We're putting all of this in context, and we're saying, you're gonna come, you're gonna do math, you do your English, your POB, all business, we put business and the arts together, but everybody has to do history. And everybody here has to do the African and the African
Yes, there must be a core set of subjects.
And you have to do what we call we do something called choice, where we're trying to help people, you know, from a personal development, where there's spirituality that's woven into what we do as well. But it's important, and that would have come, Angela, out of me doing that film and traveling to Africa.
Yes.
So,
that is absolutely fantastic. I mean,
yes, I realized that we dove in at the front end without me even clarifying exactly what the aim of the KW magazine is. Because the aim of the magazine, as I said it just in a nutshell, that we are aimed at facilitating conversations about worship and cultural identity. We're doing this so that we can get to know ourselves better, so that we can get to know each other better, and so that we can get to build deeper, more authentic relationships with our Creator. Because we figure that we cannot build an authentic relationship with anyone if we do not first know ourselves. And that as we talk with each other, we will get to know ourselves better and get to know each other better. Malachi 3 verse 16 says, then those who feared the Lord spoke with each other, and the Lord heard them, and a book of remembrance was opened in heaven. So this is it. And as I am listening to just all that is happening, I'm overwhelmed, I have to tell you. So for those who are still watching, remember you can get your copy of the KW magazine. We have 4 issues out. You can buy all 4, or you can just pick the one that you think you will resonate with best. The review is in the 4th issue. That issue is entitled Reparation, Reconciliation, and Reggae Ambassadors Around the World. And that is where you will find this great review that Angela Slack has written about the film Joseph. It's at Spur Open. Nora is going to put it once more inside the comment section on Facebook so that everybody can see it. All right, so shall we move on? Let me put on the glasses, because trust me, I am wondering, Angela, if you have a question for Marcia about casting and staging and that kind of a thing.
Before she answer that question, Joanne,
yes.
Marcia alluded to it and Angela said it. Stereotypes. I heard that word 3 times.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd love for you to just put it out there. What were the stereotypes that were debunked in the movie Joseph? Can you identify them and just talk about them? Because we need to put it out there, the stereotypes that
That question is directed at me?
Both of you.
Okay, all right. I'll go first since I was talking. It's interesting that when I did my second watch, the robust discussion that I had with my niece was something else, because here, talking about the vacuum of ignorance that existed on both sides. On our side, because of the imposition and the disruption in our natural development that colonization and the legacy of slavery put us through, we were left with this thing that those of us who are Jamaicans, we have this expression called foreign mind.
Right.
And we say, foreign mind, I'm a foreign mind. What is foreign mind? And it was my niece who said to me, but auntie, don't you see where this foreign mind thing come from? Because we are told that because we have no sense of ourself, we're constantly looking outward for whatever is the prevailing standard, and then we adopt that. And the way she expressed it was so unique. She said, why we always are gonna take up when I want we and each up pan una really each up pan we, which I thought was okay, that's interesting. But right. What she was saying is that this whole thing where we adopt, whether it is Americanisms, Europeanism, whatever it is, we're always reaching out and accumulating things from everybody else and sort of wearing it best, trying to find ourselves. So that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that has created a knee-jerk reaction in us towards everything African. Because we were told that everything African is less than, it's subculture, it's sub-quality. And there's so many instances in the film where the King's, Mr. King Sr., Dr. King Sr., his whole rejection of his maroon connection is a knee-jerk reaction in response to that. You know, the opening scenes, the bromance, which I really love with the guys, but you know, the one who plays bad cop, who he says all the disparaging things. Marcia, you know, uses his voice to say all the things that people think about Africans. You know, Africans can afford anything. What is there anything of any quality and standard there? So this movie made it abundantly clear that through the lens going around the city of Ghana, we from the introduction of the airport, we saw a state-of-the-art airport, we saw a metropolis, we saw a growing, developing economy, we saw a social development at work, we saw politics, we saw that the nation is anything that any other developing nation in the world at this time is and can be. And the lens of the camera gave us those answers. So she echoed the nonsense that we believed of everything African being substandard and wild and crazy and bizarre and barbaric and the rest of it. You know, the poor Rastafarian girl, that you're gonna bring that ganja smoking Rasta girl in here. That's an echo of that again, because of course Rastafarianism is Pan-African. So anything that embraced Pan-Africanism, I remember when I was growing up, you know, you couldn't have your hair out or it had to be processed, and all of this that we've been through, you know, it is something that wants to strip us of any identification with our Africanness. And I remember what I loved through the film, which my niece and I, as we watched it the second time, commented, was we just loved the way, as Marcia wanted to do, she said it was intentional, you could see the spectrum of peoples that make up the Caribbean, you know? So you could see people with in their natural hair, processed hair, different classes, and you realize it's an eclectic melting pot of people. So I think it's giving us freedom to just be who you are and be your authentic self and embrace everything African and realize that you may be very well putting yourself at a disadvantage by thinking that everything African is substandard, not realizing, as Marcia said, oh, she was impressed by the professionalism of the working crew there on the Ghanaian side. You may not be realizing that, look, the train has left and you're still at the station. Africa is moving on. I wrote an article years ago about the 5 emerging African lions, you know, and Ghana was one of them. Africa is emerging and it is reclaiming all that has been taken from it. So watch this space.
Wow, listen to you, I'm like, you know, just really, wow, I like can say as well, because I think you know, you're the kind of viewer we wrote for, I guess. You're getting everything. You get everything. You get everything that we were trying to say. Even the things that we didn't come outright and say. I'm realizing that you
subliminally they were there. Yes.
Right.
And
yes.
that was important to us to communicate, you know, using the locations without saying it. Film is about, you know, it's more about pictures, you know. We wanted to paint.
But pictures are powerful.
So you spoke about Angela being the kind of viewer you wrote for Marcia. So what we want to find out is, how has it been received? What have the premieres been like? Where have you done your premieres?
But we have, just before I answer that, I think Ms. Simpson was asking about stereotypes, and I just want to say one other thing about that. And I love that question, by the way. It's very real, you know, because we can talk all up here, but let's be real. Which is why that scene about stereotypes was in the film, because we didn't want to just be talking about stuff and not get into the real. One of the, why I cried was that, you know, from a little girl, you hear people tell you Black people are lazy. And you don't realize how much of it you internalize. So if Black people are lazy and we're from Africa, then they would be more lazy than we are, right? That could be one of the things that we deduce from that whole stereotype. And so going to Ghana and seeing how they did not walk on the set, they were running. I was coming from Jamaica where, you know, 1 foot here, 1 foot there tomorrow. But when I got to Ghana, they were running and sweating. And these were not adults. You know, these were not people, say, over 25. A lot of these were under 25. They were
millennials were actually
they were so productive. You know, and I just cried watching them. They were young men, guys. I would have to cry because of how productive they were. And, you know, they were entrepreneurs. You know, they were finding solutions. There was never a problem on that set that they told you they did not know how to fix it. They always say, it's coming up. Can we do that? It's coming up. You know, they might not get it done, but they're telling you it's coming up.
It's coming up. I like that.
They're on it.
The director, it's coming up. They never tell me that it can't be done. They always wait for it to be done. And that touched my heart. And the way they served me, they served the people who were there. They wouldn't let me stand up. They always had my chair. They were all around me, serving me. And to see Black people, I have to be honest. You wanted me to be honest, Simpson. Black people were serving Black people in such a way that I was like, what?
Wow.
If I said, they provided it.
Thank you.
They were behind me, Angela, wherever I went. Director, Madam Director. They call me Madam Director. I was never treated that way, you know, except for Ghana. They gave me respect that was due to me. You know, if I'm standing, Madam Director, what do you have to just resting I'm just stretching my legs. Okay, do you want me to bring the chair over here for you? Madam Director, you're in the sun. Madam Director, do you need an umbrella? Madam Director, they were serving me. And it was amazing, to be honest, to be served by my own people.
Very amazing. So we are,
we've lost through the disconnection, because that's a typical African response and a typical African cultural mindset. And I didn't come across that until I moved to the UK and met Africans and realized how much of that is just standard in their behavior and thinking.
Yes. So I am agreeing with Rosie, who is sending a message inside here, that we need direct flights to Ghana. She said, let's buy shares in a plane service, LOL.
That's a project for Dave and Marcia. More accounts, Marcia. Work out that pounds.
Listen. First of all, this is reminding me of Garvey's Black Star Line. No, Marcia, we know that if Holy Spirit tells Marcia to do it, she might try to do the Jonah thing. She might bawl for a little while, but she is going to be obedient. So, yes, man, she says, no going through the UK so students can visit Ghana for field trips instead of going to Disney World.
Yes.
That is what needs to happen. Marcia, I don't know if you're still there.
Yes, I am. I'm making sure my laptop doesn't die.
Okay. So,
I'd love to see exchange programs between the two countries. Wouldn't it be wonderful?
That is what is needed.
Students,
definitely.
Year 10 students to go and live and study for a year in Ghana and vice versa.
Yes.
That would be something for us to look into.
Actually, I just want to say this quick, Joanne. Is that when we were there, we had a breakfast with one of the principals of the leading private school, and that is something that we were talking about.
I would jump on it. Yes.
Going
awesome.
Here,
awesome.
And so it's something that we're talking, and she's going to be on. You're going to meet her on one of my programs, but it's something that we're looking at. To see how to get that done.
Great. We will be keeping our ears to the ground for that one. Now, I am looking at the time, right? And we normally try to finish off by 2 o'clock, but I knew this was not going to happen today. But we're going to try to see how we can move things forward. I was asking about the premieres. How many spaces have you premiered the movie so far?
Yes, so we premiered in Ghana. That was the first place.
Yes.
And oh boy, once again they just blew us away. It was fantastic. Red carpet, long and wide. I mean, lots of palm wine.
Steady on, girl. Steady on.
And people and the whole event was just beautifully put together.
Yes.
We could not have asked for anything more. And I had a fashion designer there, did my gown. I felt like a queen.
Wow.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience.
Yes.
And to be there and so Ghana was just amazing. And then the response to the film.
Yes.
And then we premiered in Barbados, and that too was just amazing. People were crying. So we did it over there on that side, and here we were now in Barbados, and it was interesting to see the different responses. Mm-hmm. In Barbados, it was over. People were still just sitting in their chair, just talking, crying. All different ethnic groups crying, and it was a very, very, very special moment. And then it was in my homeland in Jamaica. Yay!
Yes.
Jamaica. It was in Jamaica, and that too was special because we had a lot of the actors there. They were there with us, and so a lot of them was the first time they were seeing it. And then my school was there, St. Andrew High School for Girls. It's put on by them. So,
yes, because it was at least 2 rooms that we were screening the movie in. So some people were like, where should we go? Isn't this where Joseph is? Yes, but it's also there, because St. Andrew High School for Girls had to have their own room. And it was really great. And I was happy to have been there and, just to observe.
That Michael Phillips was there as well.
Yes.
And actually I've been walking around with this guys from the time we started filming in Jamaica. And this is of his mother. You see how quickly I could get it because I never lose it. This is Minion, Cislin Phillips, Miss Sister Minnie. And this is real to me and means a lot to me because she was a Jamaican. And Sister Minnie, she was the first person to take the remains of enslaved people from Jamaica back to Ghana. And yes, Angela had the same effect on me. I learned about her in Ghana, and I keep this.
What?
Her birthday is
passed on.
Yeah, she passed on September 17th in 2018, and her birthday is October 10th. And I would love, ladies, if you could help me to celebrate her birthday coming up.
I was going to say we should memorialize it in some way, have a day for her, or...
Because the film was done, one of the persons who did it in dedication of is Sister Minnie, and her birthday is October 10th, guys. And I would love for you to do it because of Sister Minnie is why there is emancipation. They celebrate emancipation in Ghana.
Seriously?
Okay? Yes, a Jamaican woman, and we go about a whole lot of times and we don't recognize our own. And I'm telling you, literally, I keep this, I walk with this everywhere I go. She's Jamaican, she's part of me, she's part of you. And we love her and we thank God for her. When I learned about her, I was weeping for days. And I was inspired. And when we went to get the film, to get equipment, a long story, but the equipment, we couldn't bring it into Jamaica. We couldn't get insurance because of the Ghana leg of it. So they would not, they said there was Ebola in Ghana. This is these crazy Americans. Okay. And so they would not let us insure, they would not let us get the equipment. Wow. So it forced us, we had to get equipment in Jamaica. And we went to a company there. And it was in talking to them, then I realized that they know Miss Minnie. I'm like, what? Oh Lord, I bawled buckets of tears, I tell you. So it turned out we needed to meet them, and they gave me this. And I've kept it in my computer case, and it goes with me everywhere. And wow. It means a lot to me because I feel like the film carries her spirit. Because she did that, and that's why I changed the script, and I had Joseph. I'm gonna cry now.
Yeah, carry the bones.
Joseph carrying the bones of his grandfather back to Africa.
Oh. That is the image that stayed with me most poignantly throughout the entire film. That was the tearjerker for me. That's where the floodgates came, and I just lost it.
Come on,
so Marcia, just.
Woman, let's do it. October 10th.
Let's talk off air about how you would like to see that happen and how we can work together.
Could I suggest, Joanne, could we petition our government, the Jamaican government that is, to even give her a statue or something, a monument of some sort?
Let's have a conversation about what's the best way, and then do it the way Marcia has taught us. You get the word, and when you know that you have the word to do something, then we know that we will get the instructions. Let me tell you, one of the ways we've been praying is, God, show us what to do, show us how to do it, and show us who to do it with. So this is our prayer where this is concerned. All right. Now we're going to have to, Denise, what you say, we're going to have to kind of fast track moving forward, even though we really feel in our bellies that we don't want to move too fast because there are so many
Question.
Yes.
Just as you released Joseph, in came COVID-19.
Yes.
How has this affected the release, and how have you dealt with the impact of COVID-19?
Listen, Miss Simpson, you're something else, you know. Let me tell you something.
I told you.
She's fabulous. I'm enjoying this show, guys. Now, can I say that, remember I told you I was crying at the beginning, I don't want to do it?
Right.
My spirit knew COVID was coming. But listen, COVID, we had such an amazing opportunity because we had the largest, cinema chain, AMC, in the US, okay? Gave us a break. They said, listen, we watched the film, we love the film, come. You can come in some limited cinemas. From the Caribbean, never happened before.
Wow.
Of course, we were so excited, packed my bags, and in America, we were from cinema to cinema. In came COVID, and I came home, and we are still trying to recover. So, which is why somebody asked how they can watch it. There's, they can, at the moment, you can watch it at stepbystepfilms.com, stepbystepfilms.com. You can, it's about $2.99 for it, that you can pay to see it, rent to see it. And so it changed everything. We were on our way to Florida. We were doing a big thing was going to happen for us in Florida, big thing. Florida, and they were bringing, people from Atlanta. Oh, I forgot, we had premiered in Atlanta too, and they had screenings in Atlanta, very successful.
Fabulous.
And it was going, this thing is on the road now, we're going. COVID, and we are still recovering, Miss Simpson. So that is part of what, I'm happy, thank God for Joanne, for the opportunity to do the show. Because even in Jamaica, when COVID, we hit the cinema, Monday, and by Wednesday, the whole of Jamaica was shut down.
Oh, God. So can't we get Netflix?
Well, at the moment, we're still trying. Remember, Jamaica basically shut down again. So, in a way, so we can't, what we're doing now, we need people to go and watch it. We need the help, guys. We owe the world. we tried our best to pay people in Jamaica, but we still owe people in Jamaica. We owe people in the US, and people in Ghana. It's not too bad, one main person there, but we're people, we want to pay our bills, but we need you to write the movie.
Okay.
We needed to write the movie, and we need to explore some virtual screenings. So if you can,
now that's what I'm saying.
Tell us how that can work.
Yes.
Tell us.
That virtual screening can happen. You contact us. Contact us at nbweeks@yahoo.com. nbweeks@yahoo.com.
That's M with an M.
M, Marcia.
Yes.
B for boy.
Yes.
WEEKES @yahoo.com. That's the easiest way that you can reach us. And if you go on our website, you can also send an email through the website as well, which is stepbystepfilms.com. But what am I saying is that you can do, we can host a screening. And with those screenings, what we ask people for is actually just give a donation. Give a donation, and you come on and you watch the movie. And on October 10th date would be, I don't even know what day that is, what day of the week that is.
I will
here
tell you.
Thursday. But that entire that weekend, the Thursday going on, we could be celebrating Miss Winnie and doing that, doing something. But the point is, if you have people, say, Joanne, you have people in your, from your community, and they want to see the film, we can arrange that. You can see it in a virtual cinema. We can, with Debbie and Denise, the same thing. Angela from the UK.
That is awesome.
And we can do up to, at the moment, up to 100 people in the room. So,
fantastic.
That
we
is
can
awesome.
In addition to that, we've been picked up by a distributor. But with the distribution, we can still do the virtual cinema. But they are doing, they're trying to get Netflix and all these different people to buy it.
I want to see it on Netflix. I really think it belongs there as a Netflix original. And I believe if it's God's will, it's God's bill.
Okay.
May I say something to Marcia?
Yes.
Marcia, when I watched this and I went to bed sleeping about the movie, I woke up praying about it, praying for you. And I want to share, because you opened the door for me to say this to you personally. Joseph's character in the Bible is my favorite Bible character. And as I'm listening to you, I'm seeing how God gave Joseph a dream.
Yeah.
Where the sheaves bowed down to him and he didn't know what his journey was going to be all about. You released this film, Joseph, at a time of a pandemic. Joseph in the Bible had to face a famine.
Yes. Okay.
And he was appointed governor to distribute the food that was necessary, and it was done. So I am saying to you, in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, your plan that the Lord has given you, he is going to let it happen. This distribution is going to happen because it was done according to his instruction.
Amen.
Just as how Joseph rose up and whatever was prophesied was done. You fret not, my girl. He is going to open doors and it will happen. Okay?
Amen.
I just needed to say that to you.
Amen.
Amen.
We agree in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I know this is not a church program, but oh Lord, we all love Jesus.
It's happening.
Well, we know where our help comes from. So
yes,
we know where our help comes from.
I really am enjoying this conversation so much, and I don't want to leave out important things. You know, the question is being asked, sometimes you have to have a part 2, and I am not sure that this should have a part 2 as it is, but I do believe we need to have further conversations that will take us in deeper. In the article that you wrote, that first article that you had submitted that came out in the Garvey issue of the KW magazine, you stated that the success of Joseph will open many doors in the Caribbean and that it is poised to foster change in the region. I wonder if you can paint for us, as we are trying to close out this particular conversation, paint for us a picture of what you see God doing through this film for the Caribbean.
So Marcia's question or mine? Mine?
This is Marcia's question because she was the one who said that the success of Joseph was going to open doors.
I want to say something to piggyback her that will remind her of a conversation that we had years ago that she probably, that ties in.
You know, this is the first film of its kind to be filmed in, you know, the Caribbean, in Ghana, and, you know, in Barbados, 3 countries.
Yes.
Pan-African film. And so we've had films that were filmed in America and Nigeria, America and Ghana. So this is the first one that was filmed in the Caribbean and Ghana or any place in Africa, period. We have the way, you know, I co-wrote the film with a sister, my sister from the Cameroon, and who, you know, we were told that some of us are from there. You know, so this is the first of its kind, and so we are making, there are lots of bridges that are being set up with this film, and so that is why I believe that this film, once we can succeed financially now with this film, because we are doing all the networking, this conversation we have in here, as Joanne alluded to before, this is Pan-African. All of this is going on. You know, it's happening. And so what we now need to do is to close it up with the business. We need to be able to see that, you know, the film needs to be successful financially. I think that is important for filmmakers, for them to be able to see that and want to do more films. Once we're successful with this, there's so many projects. People are reaching out to us from Africa, from here in the Caribbean, about projects that they want us to do, but we don't want to be taking on stuff and we're still in debt over something. So we need to be successful, and that's where your viewers can come in. by hosting these different, virtual cinema, screenings.
Yes.
And we can give us a donation where let's do it family to style. Come in and you give a donation. At least before you come in, you give the donation, you watch, you talk with the director. I'll be there. My husband as the executive producer will be there. Other producers, I can bring in the actors, and we talk because we must succeed. It's important to the question you asked. It's important that we succeed so that others who have other film ideas would want to, to get it down.
That's right. It's so interesting because, yesterday after we had watched the film together, because what had happened, a situation which I will not outline how it happened, but I had to rent the movie and then share it with Denise so that she could watch it.
No, man, you can't tell them what happened. Me not shame.
Tell them what happened.
Tell them what happened, or you want
the ATM machine swallow our card.
Right. So I never had any card on me to go online to purchase. So Joanne offered to rent it, and we watched it together on Zoom.
Right.
So you're talking about a virtual cinema. We got that already.
So this is what we were planning to have a conversation with you about.
Exactly.
After the show is finished.
Let's talk about that off air.
Exactly. So we will do that off air. Yes. This has really been, I can see how God is working. And I am just overwhelmed with this conversation that we have had. People, thank you for watching. Thank you for even the comments that you've had. Let me see if there were any other comments. Yes, Rosie again had said that she would definitely help to organize exchanges. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. So we can look at that. There's so much more.
One of my dreams, as I heard about education, is if schools could get together for the virtual showing as well.
Yes.
Guidance counselors with students.
Yes.
Watching this and having a serious discussion on identity. Let me tell you, the psychological and emotional aspects of the movie, coming from the movie, and what it is that we can learn about ourselves as Black people. That's a powerful conversation for schools, guidance counselors being engaged with their students.
Ladies, because what happened, one of the biggest things that we've always done with our movie, I know Joanne wants to close it, I know how, I do a show, so I know how that is. And we were planning to do screen shows, but it never worked because of the COVID. And so listening to you talk, I realized that all is not lost.
No, let the market drive it. The demand will drive it. I see that.
Yeah.
Don't let it be a best kept secret.
Our lives, I would say, each of us who has seen this movie, our lives have been changed, really, just by having that experience, almost as if we were in all those spaces where you were, and we processed all that Joseph processed. And so it's the beginning of something new. You have birthed something that is going to birth something that is going to birth something from generation to generation. So we bless you for your obedience. And Angela, yes, we are happy that you have watched the film and wrote what you did, put it in the magazine, because that will also bring others. Because people are, the most questions that are coming in is, how can we watch the movie? So is it so step by step?
They can go to solidify.com, or they can go to Step by Step Films.
Yes, so it's
films.com, solidify.com.
Solidify. There it is, Nora. Please share it with the others. And Step by Step Productions.
So
where all your 7 films, is it all the 7 or is it 5 of the films that are on Step by Step?
It's only 5 because 2 we don't have the permission from the distributors to have them on, but the 5 of them are on.
Okay, so then, yes, my husband is saying to announce that Garvey is certainly happy with this film and with what you have done, and we know that Yahweh is definitely happy. His children are talking with each other, and we are getting more revelation about who we are.
John, I'm burning for a closing sentence that I have to say, and I wrote it last night, and I've highlighted it, and
please,
it's in my spirit. Because the film is a narrative, and it's really a counter narrative to a prevailing narrative. I believe that this quote is really important. I wrote this last night. The language we use is as much a part of our liberation as it is our enslavement. If we use the language of the imperialists or colonialists or capitalists, we are expressing our development from their perspective and in their terms, and we will see ourselves through their lens. We must correct the language.
Wow.
And so, I'm really keen to keep the countervailing narrative going.
Yes, and
correct,
that is definitely
sound in our ears that is affecting our heart.
That is definitely what Joseph does, because it came to mash down the stereotypes that have been fed to us by the colonizers about Africa, and by extension about us and our own identities. And that is the power of Joseph, that film.
I'm glad we're finishing.
Africa and Africans arise.
It's a special feeling.
Your light has come.
Like there's that line, there's something that happened on this Zoom a while ago. And you know what is beautiful? I tell you something. I want to encourage people to buy the KW magazine. I had the opportunity of reading some of the articles. I think Joanne is doing a fantastic job. And, you know, she was all the way up there before a lot of us were talking about Africa and loving herself.
She put that work in.
She has made that sacrifice for a lot of people like myself to walk on a bridge, to do what I'm doing. And I want to encourage everybody that's watching, get the magazine. Get the magazine, because sometimes, you know, we want to get things for free because it's our friends. And I'm just speaking straight. Get the magazine if you can afford to get it.
Value it has a price.
Yes, I know that things are tough for people, but I want you to support her, because this woman that you see here, this is the real deal. And she's working in the trenches. Sometimes I look at her on, and I know it's not my show, but I just want to say something. I look at her online and I said, it's years down the road, but we're going to appreciate what Joanne and her husband.
Yes.
But they're telling you, Angela, she is beating up, digging out trenches to us and digging out paths for us.
Yes.
You know, and when you talked about language, Angela, there's something released a while ago in this space that is so powerful among us women, and why it's important that a magazine like KW keeps going, because that's the way we're expressing ourselves. It's our language, is what we're saying about ourselves. Why the films, we need to keep write for the magazine, you know, the KW magazine, the films, because it's that language that we're changing the narrative. We're changing the narrative through the magazine, through the films, through all of these things that we're doing. And I just had to say that. Just had to say that.
Amen.
Wow.
Well, you forget that I'm a publisher, so I'm there in the background. we're in the trenches together.
She knows the inside
I get the behind the
stories.
scenes.
Oh, She
I get the
knows
behind
the
the scenes.
struggles, Marcia, I am telling you. But
Angela, keep up what you're doing, woman. Keep up what you're doing. We're strong Black women, and we are out there, and we are charting something for the next generation.
Yes.
So be encouraged, guys.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, Marcia, in 2016, we had a very funny phone call where we hadn't spoken for something like 20 years or something, 15 years, 14 years, and you wrote some. It was the premiere of the movie before Joseph.
Barrow.
Yes, Barrow. And somehow I just called you because I had to, and I broke down saying to you, girl, what you've done, I'm so proud. And she spoke a word over my life that night. I don't think she even remember, but it was the same word that God told me, and I was being a Jonah running because I am so chicken, if you think she's chicken. And she said that God is using the arts and entertainment. It's one of the mountains that the enemy has built predominantly, and God is raising up creatives in this season. He is raising up creatives, and he is going to fill them, impregnate them with the truth, and that truth will come out through the creative streams, and it will begin to push over and cast that mountain, that those demonic mountains that Hollywood and the rest have implanted and imposed themselves upon us, where they change our narrative, they change our view, they change our destiny because we adopt and we align ourselves with them. You spoke that word and you said, right. You are the one who said to me, right. I was still in the classroom and chicken at the time, but you said right, and that word released me. So I thank God for you.
Okay, it's now, yes, we've gone quite a bit, but I don't know if we knew where we were going when we probably had a course that we had charted, but we know how it go already, right? And so, speaking to our audience, whether you are watching live or on the replay. Oh, and I should, I guess, follow up with, I'm so grateful for all the encouragement and the endorsement of the work. And we did say earlier on that if persons purchase even one issue of the magazine, the KW magazine, CREWShall Connections in Faith and Culture, as a result of this show after today, and you do that on spurropen.com, spurropen.com, and you do that, it's just $5 for each one, then you will get a gift of the song. I am going to try to remember to play it on the outro this time, Denise, so that people can hear it, because people have actually contacted me asking about that song. So you will get that as a gift along with it. I'm going to wrap up now and tell you now.
It's been an honor and a privilege.
Denise?
Nice meeting you, Denise.
Is there a final last word sentence? One sentence?
Final last sentence. Whatever dream God has birthed in you people, listen to it. Each of us have a tongue, a print, a fingerprint, and a tongue print. Nobody else has that print but God. And he gave us a unique print for hands to do a work that nobody else can do. A tongue print with a message to share that nobody else can share. Go and do what he has purposed for you to do, because there's a reason why he allowed you to be birthed on this side of life. Walk good.
Thank you. May I beg God for blessing and keep you know. May I beg him to smile upon you know. May I beg him to give you know him love, even though none of it no deserve it. And may I beg him to look upon you know and go no feel peace today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Wanna walk good and one love. Oh, the song. We're supposed to play the song at the end. All right. Come make we worship him. Come make we dance and sing. Give thanks and praise to the King of Kings. Okay, yes, man. We have come. I'm trying to turn off the music. Hold on.
So how comes we couldn't hear the music?
Sorry.
Earphones in.
Okay.
Are you want to hear the song?